Any views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on the Rejuvenating Health podcast are solely those of the speakers and are intended as such. Please consult your trusted healthcare practitioner for medical advice. Let's go, girls.
Welcome back to the Rejuvenating Health podcast, ladies. It is Coach Laken, joined by Dr. Lindsey, as always. And today, I want to bring up something that I think most women have probably heard at this point about movement. And it's like the solution of just walk more. Like, make sure you get your steps in, hit that elusive 10,000 steps a day. That's the solve for everything. And just park further away or take the stairs. And it is important. I don't want anybody to misunderstand us in this message today, because walking is super important and it is necessary. But I think that, Lindsey, you're pretty passionate about the fact that walking alone is not enough. And let's talk about why.
I honestly think that walking needs to be put into neat, non-exercise activity.
Yeah.
Like, walking is not exercise. I think that's the issue, is people are like, I'm exercising, I'm walking, and that is not exercising. That's it's moving. It's just you should be moving your body.
Well, I think it can be a progression of exercise, depending on where you're starting.
If
your
you're
starting
completely
point.
sedentary, yes.
But eventually, it can't stay there. That can't be the goal of where you're getting to with your exercise.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's if you have parents that are, 50, 60, this is what they do for exercise. They walk, and that's not enough. And so we've taken something that is actually really good for us and turned it into the entire exercise prescription. And that's what the issue is. Walking is fantastic. I go on a walk every day. I want women walking. Walking after meals for 10 or 15 minutes is so incredibly important. It improves your activity level. It gets you some vitamin D. It can definitely help bring your blood sugars down after meals. It's great for stress. It's accessible. Like you said, anyone can go on a walk, but walking alone does not provide us enough of the stimulus we need to maintain or build muscle, strength, or protect our bone density, especially for women, especially as we're aging. So when a 42-year-old woman tells me, I'm walking on my walking pad all day, or I'm getting 12,000, 25,000 steps a day, why am I losing muscle? My answer is because you're not strength training. Movement and training are two wildly different things.
Yeah, and that's a really important distinction. I think a lot of women hear, be active, and there's an assumption that all activity produces the same adaptation, and that's not the case.
Yeah, that is not the case at all. Your body adapts to what you ask it to do. So walking makes you better at walking. If you walk long enough, your miles are going to get faster. You're going to be able to go longer. Running makes you better at running. If I wanted to run a marathon, I would go run more and run longer and get faster times. Strength training makes you stronger. So they're all different physiological demands. And if you want muscle and bone to adapt, you definitely want bone and muscle to adapt as you're getting older. You have to give them the appropriate reason to adapt.
Yeah, so let's get into that a little bit deeper and talk about the difference between movement versus exercise versus training. I think that's important to define. So what's the difference between each of those, movement, exercise, and actual training?
So I think about it as layers. So movement is just general physical activity. You're walking around your house, you're gardening, you're cleaning, you're playing with your kids, you're taking the stairs. I was putting the groceries away up earlier. All of that matters. It does. Then you have exercise, which is intentional physical activity. So maybe you go for a run. Maybe you take a cycling class. You do a Orange Theory, CrossFit type class. And then there's training. And training has a specific objective. You're trying to produce an adaptation. So if you're trying to get stronger, there would be some sort of progression over time. So I'm thinking maybe the weight increases, maybe the reps increase, maybe the technique improves, maybe I can produce more force, maybe I can do the same workout with better control. There's an intention behind the stimulus. So right now we're doing a bench press. we're doing a progressive overload of bench press. Like there's an intention behind what we're doing, and there's intention behind the stimulus that we're doing. And I think that's where women get stuck. They're exercising constantly. I know the women that we work with are exercising constantly, but they're not training. There's no intent behind it.
Yeah, like they're sweating and they're tired and they're burning calories according to their wearable, but they're not actually training. And I think this is really important too when we talk about training for a specific outcome, because I think a lot of women will hear that and think, well, I don't want to compete in something, or I don't have a goal of getting like a certain number on my bench press, for example, or a certain number on my back squats. That's not what we're talking about. It's like you can be training for certain life things, right?
Yeah.
Like to be able to carry the groceries into the house in one trip, to be able to pick up your kids or your grandkids and carry them if they get tired or if you were to need to for any reason, to be able to get down on the ground and like play with children without feeling, like you're hurting your joints, or just to be able to like walk long distances to do some type of activity without getting winded or tired, or to be able to, pick things up over your head. Like there's a lot of things that you can train for that don't necessarily have to be, oh, I want to hit this certain number in the gym, but it equates to something outside of the gym.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's where you can like actually see progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not training, it doesn't automatically mean that you're going to have progress. Like being exhausted isn't a psychological goal.
Right.
Being sore isn't a goal. Burning 600 calories isn't a goal, although it probably is for some women. Like the goal in question should be like, what adaptation am I trying to create? And that's a very different way of looking at fitness. I think it's a very different way that we even teach to our clients sometimes. And I think we probably need to do a better job at teaching that, but you have to define it and understand what it is, right?
Yeah, almost in the same way that, I think we do a really, really good job of meeting our clients where they are currently and progressing them from there. But maybe it's a matter of, is there more opportunity for creating a better outlook on how does this translate directly into what you want to be able to do physically in your life? And can we seek that adaptation?
Yeah, and I think like this is one of the reasons why I like CrossFit so much, is because I can do a workout every day and it's constantly varied functional movement, but then I'll test the workout or test the thing later, and I can see if I've adapted and gotten better at it. A lot of times in fitness classes, you're not testing anything. You're not seeing if your time got better. You're not seeing if your weights got heavier. Like obviously in running, you're doing that because you're trying to see if your mile time got better. But there's not a lot of fitness things out there. Like I'm thinking of like whenever I did Insanity and you did the same workout over and over and over again. Like, what were you paying attention to if you could get more reps, or
it's so funny
were you
to
just
me
doing
that's called insanity, because like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting
I
a
know.
different outcome. But yeah, it's like there, to your point, there's not a lot of metrics that measure that adaptation over time outside of weight loss, which is not what we're necessarily targeting. And I think this is why it's so important that we emphasize why women need to lift heavier, because something that will come up pretty often is like women will tell you that they're lifting heavy. And then when you get the opportunity to watch them train or get more insight into it, it's like,
Yeah. Like we have very different definitions of heavy, don't we?
Right. It's like, why do you think women are so hesitant to challenge themselves when it comes to resistance? Because it's like, we'll challenge ourselves with a lot of other things in our lives, but why do you think it's such a block with resistance training?
I mean, I think for decades we've spent our job, and social media, magazines has been telling women to become smaller, right? Don't get bulky. That's not attractive. Don't lift too heavy. Like use the pink dumbbells in the corner. I mean, think about like the 80s when they had their little leotards on with their 2-pound pink dumbbells. Like do more reps, do more cardio, do aerobics, eat less. And then women hit their 40s now, and it's a completely different mindset and generation. But now we're like, wait, hold on. Muscle's important. Go build muscle, right? So we literally have decades of conditioning to undo. I think it's easier for you and I because this conversation started in our 20s, probably early 30s. But people like my mom who are 60, like to decondition them from that is really hard. And I think the other piece is like women generally like genuinely don't want to look muscular, right? Even though they have no idea the hard work that it takes to get that, and that it probably isn't going to happen. They also don't know what working close to muscular failure even feels like. So they might be thinking they're lifting heavy, but they have no idea what that feels like.
It's like any sensation of discomfort is like, oh no, that's not okay, right? And there's like a fear of injury as opposed to, no, it's supposed to feel uncomfortable, just like anything else when we challenge ourselves.
Yeah, like they did 10 reps and like that was hard. But like if I asked them to do 8 more, they could do 8 more. Right. So like that 10 reps wasn't even close to failure.
Right. And, when someone says I'm lifting weights 3 times a week and I'm not gaining muscle, then that's something you would want to look at, right? Like how heavy are you actually going, and what is the rate of perceived exertion there? Like how is that relating to failure?
I mean, I think you first have to ask like, what does weightlifting mean to you? Because like weightlifting for some people is doing air squats, right? Like, I mean, technically you can do a curl 3-pound, like a dumbbell curl with 2-pound weights and 20 times and say you lifted weights. I mean, but if your muscles are completely adapted to that load, there isn't much, like you're really kind of wasting your time, right? Like you're not going to adapt, like you're not going to build additional tissue, right? So like muscle is very expensive tissue, and your body isn't going to maintain more of it just because you want toned arms. Like you have to create a reason for it to do that. And that's where like we are constantly talking about progressive overload.
Yeah. Can we get an explanation for that? That's not gym bro complicated. Like how would we simplify that down so that people can understand? Because I think a lot of women hear progressive overload and they're like, oh, like they imagine, the guys in the gym with their gallons of water and creatine and like ripped tank tops and like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Like it simply means the challenge progresses as you become stronger. So maybe this week you squat 50 pounds for 8 reps. Eventually that 50 pounds isn't challenging anymore. So then you move the weight up and you squat 55 pounds for 8 reps, or you do the 50 pounds for 10 reps. So you're either increasing weight or you're increasing reps, or you're improving your range of motion, right? Maybe you couldn't squat all the way down to depth and now you're doing that all the way down to depth. Or you could even slow the movement down. And like a lot of people don't think about this, but one way to make your training harder if you don't have increased weights is to slow the movement down, right? So say you only have a 25-pound dumbbell at home. Okay, well, let's try to do this 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. Like, let's see how that feels then, right? Like
a little spicier.
There's so many ways to progress, right? But if you're doing the exact same workout, the exact same dumbbells for 2 years, you haven't progressed.
Yeah. And to be clear, right, when we talk about increasing load or reps, because I think this is where it becomes a little bit of a sticky situation. I think women fall in one of two camps, right? Personally, I would always rather do more weight and less reps.
Not me, I'd rather do more reps.
Exactly, right? Well, like there are a lot of women that would say like, no, I'd rather not increase load and I'd rather just do more reps. But that becomes a slippery slope when we're not hitting enough RPE, or that rate of perceived exertion, right? Like we're looking for like an 80 on the effort scale. Like you should really only have 2, maybe 3 reps in reserve, meaning I could only do 2 to 3 reps more at this weight when I'm adding another rep. It should not be like, oh, I could add another 5 to 10 reps and keep going from there. Like that's not the area, the sweet spot that we want you in for that muscular adaptation, right? We need to have the space where we're actually putting in a good amount of effort, and then we add 1 rep, and that 1 rep should feel challenging to add, or we're adding the weight, and the effort equivalent should almost feel the same, like if we're adding the rep or we're adding the load.
Would challenge you to do both, right? Because they are different energy systems, right? So you do even a 3 rep max back squat, that time is what? 20 seconds. So you're more in that like phospholytic energy system. You do 20 reps, you've flipped out of that energy system because that takes a minute, 2 minutes, and you're more in that glycogenic energy system, right? So it's important to do both so you're using different energy systems as well. That's why I'd rather do more reps. Like I'd rather do a 20 rep max back squat than a 1 rep max back squat, but I do a 1 rep max back squat because I need that energy system. Like it's different at power, like,
Yeah, it's like power versus muscular endurance. Like both are really important for the adaptation that we're looking for. And if again, to what you said before, if you're using the same stimulus over a course of time, then you're not going to be getting a return on that investment. So it's really good to switch it up and test out different modalities. And muscle it's about much more than like the aesthetic or the look of it, right? Like I want to move beyond the aesthetics because I think when women hear build muscle, they immediately think that we're talking just about appearance or like that bodybuilder physique. It's like, let's talk about why we care about muscle from a clinical standpoint, why it's so.
I mean, it's metabolically active tissue, right? So it plays a huge role in the amount of glucose disposal and insulin sensitivity. It supports mobility. It protects your joints. It helps you maintain function. It supports bone through mechanical loading. And it like, there's something that people don't talk about enough, and that's like muscle gives you reserve, right?
What does that mean?
So if you become sick, heaven forbid you have surgery, you get injured, you spend time immobilized, having muscle and strength going into that event matters, right? So like I'm thinking about my mom. My mom is 60 some years old and she did CrossFit like religiously for the last 10 years, but she just had rotator cuff surgery. So she's immobilized for 6 to 8 weeks, right? But that muscle reserve has helped her maintain her glucose levels and her health and all of that type of things while she is recovering.
Yeah.
And then when
her recovery is going to look very different than someone that's sedentary going into that surgery.
Yes. And like, I want people to think about their 80-year-old selves. Like, can you get off the toilet? Can you get out of bed? Like, then it's about independence, right? Like, if you don't have muscle or that muscle reserve, then you're setting yourself up to be in a nursing home or like have to have assistance to live your daily lives. Like, so that muscle reserve is longevity. And it's not simply living longer. It's like living better longer. Like, I don't want to live longer if I'm in a nursing home and can't take care of myself.
Right. Like we're looking at health span, not lifespan. Like what is the quality of the years that we have?
Yeah. Like if you can't actively participate in your life, like you want those two to overlap as much as possible. And the thing that is going to do that is muscle, cardiovascular, fitness, balance, and power, right?
So when we look at how this translates directly to the population of women that we deal with most often, right? When we look at perimenopause, menopause, and muscle, women that say, none of this happened until perimenopause, like she was always more on the lean side, or, she could do just cardio and be fine, or she could clean up her diet for a few weeks and lose, the stubborn 5 pounds. And suddenly, in her 40s, her body isn't responding the same way. What's happening there? And why is muscle so important at this stage?
I mean, first, I believe her. Like it really does happen, right? Like there are absolutely physiological changes that happen during this period. But what I don't want women to hear is your estrogen declined and so you're doomed, right? Like your hormones do matter, and estrogen has effects throughout the body, including your bone and cardiovascular health and brain health and body composition and many other systems. But that's estrogen and testosterone are not the only thing determining whether you can build muscle. Like resistance training is still an incredibly powerful stimulus, and that should be empowering to you because it means that there's something that you can actually do about it. Now, hear this. It doesn't mean you can just go on estrogen and your body's going to change. That's not the answer. Like, it means like if you're the woman out there that's 40 and you're like, my body is changing. Yeah, it is. You have to weight train.
Yeah. So instead of saying like, well, like I'm 45 now, so everything's downhill from here. There's nothing I can do. It's like there is something that we have control over. There is something you can do.
Yeah, I mean, and like legitimately, sometimes there are medical issues we need to identify, but there are also women who have literally spent 40 years slowly losing muscle, right? They've become less active outside. Like they're not exercising. They've spent years dieting. So they've lost muscle that way. They haven't eaten enough protein. They aren't sleeping. They have enormous stress loads and they aren't strength training. And so everything gets blamed on one hormone when that's not really the complete picture. Like you have been losing muscle mass for the last 20 years because your muscle mass peaked when you were 22, 25, and then you've spent no amount of time maintaining and you have no reserve left.
Yeah. And then only now are you feeling the downhill effects of it at a rate that's causing disruption in your daily life.
And I don't think, like, when I say metabolically active tissue, like, my RMR is probably like 1,600 calories. Like, so for me to live, like, I am
so the
so
amount,
muscly.
Just to clarify, she's talking about the amount that she burns at rest, like how efficient her body processes calories.
Because I have so much muscle, I can just lay there all day and burn 1,600 calories. Someone else my size that has no muscle could be at 1,100. So just by having muscle, I'm burning 500 more calories living.
Yeah.
That's huge.
This brings me to something that we hear all the time, right? Because you were just speaking on this of I'm doing everything right. I'm eating healthy. I'm exercising and nothing is working. So when women come to us and they say that, what is it that you're actually looking at to help them understand what's happening when they feel that way?
First, like, I want to be curious in a nice way, right? Like, so define everything, not because I don't believe you, right? But because everything and healthy can mean 1,000 different things to people, right?
So, yeah, it means something different to everybody.
Like, someone might think eating healthy is being vegan. Someone might mean eating healthy is being carnivore. Someone might think eating healthy is keto. Like, what does your actual eating look like? Like, right? How much protein are you getting? Are you eating enough to, like, total energy to support what you're asking your body to do, right? What does your exercise look like? Are you progressively strength training? How much cardio are you doing? What's your sleep and stress look like? Are you recovering? Are you drinking wine every day? Like, what is your menstrual cycle doing? What meds are you on? Like, we have to clinically look what's going on under the hood, right? So depending on the individual, that may mean looking at things like glucose regulation, insulin, thyroid, lipids, inflammation, iron, nutrients, hormones, liver function, and like taking that in context with their lifestyle and their symptoms and their medical history, right? Because I will also tell you, you can go to Function and whatever and get your lab work done, but labs by themselves without the clinical picture and context are literally nothing.
Yeah, there's a huge trend of going wherever I can find, that's advertised to me on social media and ordering 80 or 100 biomarkers to like get all of this data, right? We are very obsessed with data right now. We wear all the wearables. We want all the information about what's going on in our body. Now it's turning to like internal data of like how much can I assess all the things that are coming up in my blood work, but that only goes so far.
Literally,
so what are you
going to
do with it?
I know, like I had to yell at our marketing people yesterday because yes, we do marketing. Like it's a way that we get patients. And they were like kept marketing with labs. I'm like, who gives a crap about labs? Like you have to know what to do with them. Quit marketing that. Like stop it. Like you have to.
Well, even if even if we were to talk about wearables, it's like, okay, I have all this data. It shows me, how active I am or what my HRV is. Do I even know what my HRV is? It shows me how much I'm sleeping. Okay, you have all this data. What are you doing with it? What are you going to do about it? Do you know what you want it to shift to? Like, that's where it's important.
Exactly. Data without implementation doesn't change someone's health. Like, we just bought a PNOE for the gym. So one of the like mask things that like actually test your VO2 max and RMR. So I'm like super excited about it because I'm a data nerd. But like, if you don't understand what that means, it's literally useless information. Like, you have to have a plan and then execute it afterwards, right? Like, I can give you a 40-page report of exactly what you should be doing. And I guarantee you that you're 6 months ago when I check in on you, you're the exact same place that you were now.
Yeah, because it's not an action plan.
It's like, what are you doing with the information? I think that's the piece that so many women miss. We're literally out there spending thousands of dollars on wearables and lab work and all the things, cold plunges, saunas, and literally nothing has moved. 6 months later, and you're stuck in the same place because you have no idea what you're doing with the information.
Yeah, and it's like, can we use the data to make better decisions and then take action on them instead of just spiraling of, I think it ends up in this worry spiral that we're so comfortable in of like, oh, now I have to worry about this. Now I have to worry about my HRV being this number. Now I have to worry about not getting this much sleep. So now my day is screwed, right? It's like, no, like let's take action on that. Okay, instead of what is that going to do to me today, or that deciding that it means that I am not recovered, what can I do tonight to make tomorrow better? Or what can I do tonight to make my nighttime ritual better, for example? Or what can I do today to make my recovery improved? Or maybe I need more movement, whatever it is, right? But it's like, look at the possibility of the action item that's attached to that as opposed to what it's telling you it means about you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's talk about underfueling, because I think this is just as important as undertraining, right? It's like protein, carbs, all of those things. We know that someone that's listening is probably thinking, okay, I need to lift more and eat more protein, because I hear that all the time.
I do. It's like on repeat, right?
Yes.
There's also another important piece to it, right? Like you have to fuel your training. And this is where a lot of women go wrong. Like they hear high protein and basically replace everything else with chicken breast and protein shakes.
Yeah. Or
And
like paint everything in cottage cheese.
yes, and protein matters. Please, it matters. Please do not eliminate it. But like carbohydrates aren't evil either. The right kind of hard carbohydrates, right? Like if you're training hard, carbohydrates can be extremely useful for supporting that training. And if you're not fueling with carbohydrates, you can really get into some hypothyroidism super fast.
Yeah, especially for women that are doing any type of intense training, right? Like our CrossFitters or our marathon runners, or, women that are doing any type of HIIT training for, 3+ sessions a week. Like that type of intensity requires a certain amount of carbohydrates for fuel.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking your body to perform, recover, build tissue, support your hormones, maintain normal physiological function, like you can't chronically give it nothing to work with, right? And this is something that women need to understand, because being in a calorie deficit and building muscle are completely competing goals. You can't do the same at one time, right? Like, can you sometimes lose fat and build muscle if you're very overweight? Yes. Right. Like depending on your age, your body composition, and the individual, but you cannot stay in a calorie
And even
deficit
then,
forever.
it's really difficult. Like if you have a lot of weight to use, you're more than likely going to be losing some muscle while you're shaving fat.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. And here's where I think women mess up. They think carbs are bad, so they do low carb, and then they're not fueling properly. If you're going to do low carb, you need to be getting yourself in ketosis for the energy source. So it's either like you're in keto and you're spilling ketones, or you need to eat carbohydrates, one or the other. You can't be in this middle
lane.
Has to
come from somewhere.
But we're trying to live in this middle lane where we're like, oh, maybe I'll do low carbs. So I'm like eating 50 grams of carbs a day, but that's not in ketosis. Then you have no way to get your energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think it creates fear around fueling or like eating enough.
Yeah. I mean, because we've taught them that every additional calorie is a pound of body fat, even though it takes 3,500 calories to gain fat, right? Like, so you'll have someone training 5 days a week, getting 12,000 steps in, raising kids, working a stressful job, sleeping 6 hours, and she's eating like she's trying to make weight for a bikini competition. And then she wonders why her thyroid sucks. Like, that's not resilience. That's like, I get why you're doing it, but it's not the way to do it.
Yeah. Or then simultaneously we'll have, the chronic dieter who's like a calorie weekend warrior, right? Where it's like, okay, well, as long as I'm in my regular routine, then I'm only eating, 1,000 calories a day and I'm very, very regimented. But the second anything outside of that routine happens, then that's where these crazy indulgences feel like we have all this FOMO around it, because you know what you're going back to, and that doesn't feel satisfactory. Your body doesn't feel satiated or cared for. So it's like when the opportunity strikes, it feels that much more intense when we're underfed on a regular basis.
Yep.
All right, let's talk bone density. Why isn't walking enough for bone density? We mentioned that early on in the episode.
Yeah, because bone responds to mechanical loading. So you have to have stress through the skeletal system for that to happen. And I mean, walking, you do hit a little bit of pounding, right? But like once your body's adapted to that, like the stimulus is super low. So resistance training is what actually gives you that opportunity to like create more mechanical loading. And so depending on the individual, the activities like jumping, standing, sprinting, other high force movements can also have that role in bone protection. But, when you're getting older, sometimes you can't be jumping and sprinting and doing those high force movements, right? So if you have osteoporosis or balance issues, like I'm not going to go tell you to start randomly jumping on things, right? So the principle matters. And so, but your bones need to especially as a woman, like one of the number one causes of death in women is a hip fracture because you've fallen and you've broken your hip.
Yeah. And instead of what I think women are told too often of, okay, well, you just need to be more careful as you age. It's like that fear component, right? Oh, because women often, we see these hip fractures or these hip breaks that cause a lot of issues down the line or potentially death, right? It's like, oh, we'll just be more careful. No, like get stronger so that you don't break your hip.
Yeah, like build some capacity. You need strong legs and hips and grip strength and balance and power. And like, it's not about not tripping, right? It's about like if you do, then you can move quickly enough to catch yourself. That's what matters.
Because again, like what's controllable and what's not, right? Like I can't control if the potential for never tripping again for the rest of my life, right? But I can control how strong I am when those oppositions come into play.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's talk about cardio versus strength. I think that this is going to make our runners mad. And like, do they have to choose essentially? Like, do women need to stop running and just lift?
No, I run every day. Like, I love cardiovascular training. We need cardiovascular fitness. This should never become a cardio is bad, lifting is good conversation. That is literally just replacing one extreme with another. It's not running good, weightlifting bad, or vice versa. Like you need both. Like I want you to have an aerobic base, but I also want you doing some lower intensity cardiovascular work. I want you to do some high intensity work. I want you to do resistance training. I want you to move throughout the day. And like, depending on the person, I want power and impact work. So like plyometrics. So there is no good or bad. You need some of it, a lot of it.
Yeah. What about that saying or that fear around like cardio killing your gains?
For the average woman listening to this podcast, I'm much more worried that she's not doing enough meaningful resistance training than I am about her theoretically interfering with her gains. Like, yes, your programming matters and your recovery matters. And if you're doing enormous volumes of resistance training and trying to maximize strength, like you probably need to be a little bit more strategic, but that's not most people's problem. Like I will tell you, like, I love to run. I do it every day before I strength train. Is it the best programming? No. Could I lift way heavier if I would just do my strength training and then do cardio after? Yes. But I'm super happy with the muscle that I have and the way that my body looks. And I'm not training to be an Olympic weightlifter. So this is not most people's problem. Like most people are not overtrained athletes. Like they're undertrained humans with stressful lives.
Yeah. Like that again, keeping in mind what is the goal, right? And how does it show up in your day-to-day life? Like what do you actually want to be able to do?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that like judgmentally. It's actually good news because you don't need this perfect biohacking protocol, right? You need some consistency with the fundamentals, and that should make you happy.
Yeah. So for the women that are listening, right, in their, mid 30s all the way to 60, whatever, if you're thinking this all makes sense, but now tell me what to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
where do I start?
So first, keep walking. I don't want you to stop walking. I'm not taking away your steps here. Like, please get your 10 to 12,000 steps a day. That's still good. But you have to start resistance training consistently. And so for many women, that's somewhere around 2 to 4 intentional strength sessions per week. Be realistic and where you're at. And it also depends on your experiences, your goals, your schedule, and recovery. And focus on foundational movement patterns. Like every week, you should be squatting. You should be hinging at your hips. What mean pick something up off the ground. You should be pushing something. So a push up, pushing something over your head. You should be pulling something. So pull up, a lat pull down. You should be carrying something, right? Like if you can build those basic capacities, that's great. But then you also thirdly have to progressively challenge yourself in those movements. So don't automatically grab the same weights you've used for 3 years. Like learn what appropriate effort feels like and then fuel your body for your activity, right? and then recover from it. So you have to sleep,
Yeah.
you have to rest, and your nervous system does not care that your workout was only 45 minutes if the other 23 hours of your day are literally mass chaos, right? And if you truly are doing these things consistently, you're profoundly fatigued, your cycles are changing, you're losing hair, you're experiencing weight changes, like, don't simply assume that you need more discipline. Like, you probably should get blood work then. We're not bashing the blood work. Get the blood work, but then get it interpreted and work with someone to put the plan in place.
Yeah, like not every plateau that you're going to experience is directly related to a hormone problem, but it's also not necessarily always a willpower problem either. And I think that's important. And another point, I think that we hear this a lot, right? Of, okay, well, you're telling me to do all these things. I only have so much time, especially if right now I'm starting from zero. Like, what is the most important thing or the biggest bang for our buck? And I think that, again, it comes back down to goals and then realistic expectations, right? If your primary driver is body composition, then you would benefit from adding one extra day of resistance training, and maybe you remove the walk that day if there's realistically not time for both, right? It's like, what is the goal? And then what is your realistic expectation around what you are currently doing or what you're willing to do? Just the same way as that, a lot of women will say, oh, I'm doing all the things. If you're resistance training 2 days or less a week, that's only going to get you so much bang for your buck. Like, each added day has a significant compound effect. So 2 days is significantly better than one, not equal to just 1 + 1, right? 3 days is significantly better than 2. 4 is significantly better than 3, right? Like, it has a compound effect. So that's important to keep in mind as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to lastly finish this with this longevity mindset. Like, if I could completely change one thing about how women think about exercise after 35, it would be stop training to become smaller. Stop. Start training to become more capable. Like, I want you strong. I want you carrying muscle. I want you to have healthy bones. I want you to be metabolically healthy. I want you to have cardiovascular capacity. I want you to be able to move quickly in case you're falling or getting, cars running in front of, going to run you over. Like, I want you to be able to get off the floor. I want you traveling. I want you lifting things. I want you playing with your kids, your grandkids. And yes, you can absolutely care how your body looks. Like, I'm vain. I care what my body looks like. There's nothing wrong with wanting to change your body composition. But your body is so much more valuable than the number that you see on the scale. So stop trying to make it smaller.
Yeah, I think that's so important, right? Like, the goal isn't simply how little can I weigh, but how much life can this body allow me to live? And being capable has such a ripple effect in every area of your life. Like, if you are feeling more physically capable, you're going to show up differently in the way that you interact in your relationships, in the way that you show up at work, in the way that you interact with your kids. Like, that capability does a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the strongest version of yourself isn't necessarily the smallest version of yourself, right? Like, the habits that you're building right now aren't just about what you look like next summer. Like, I want you building habits so you can live a really great life when you're 60, 70, 80. So walk, absolutely, get your steps in. But then you have to pick up something heavy and challenge your muscles and fuel yourself and recover and build a body that's prepared for the life that you actually want to live after retirement. Like, what's the point in working yourself into the ground to not be able to enjoy it once you finally don't have to?
Ladies, well, hopefully that resonated with you. And if there's somebody that you also think needs to hear this message, please share it with her, because this information is, it's something that's more accepted now. But again, there's a lot of unlearning that has to happen with the learning too. And,
it's more excessive. It's more accepted, but it's still, women aren't doing it. They're still scared of it.
Right. It's like the messaging is out there, but it's like how many women are like resonating with it. So
yeah.
If this allowed a little bit more of that resonation, please be sure to share it. Please rate and review the podcast. That helps us so much. Hit those 5 stars, and we'll see you